There are those who spend a lifetime searching for gold. Others search for forgotten knowledge. And then there are those who quietly pursue a different craft, transforming ordinary things into something worth sharing. Every creation begins with a single idea. Sometimes that idea comes from years of study. Sometimes it begins with a simple conversation. This time, the inspiration was simple: to create a beer worthy of a midsummer celebration. A beer bright enough for long afternoons, refreshing enough for warm evenings, and memorable enough to gather family and friends around a table. One idea became another: a kettle sour, fresh berries. A recipe slowly taking shape, until eventually, an idea became a beer. Welcome to Papa's Happy Place. Today, we're brewing Mama P's Berry Blast.
Dance, 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 I'm gonna dance, 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 like nobody's watching me.
Okay, this beer Mama P asked me to make for her. She wants a nice sour that got lots of berries and stuff in it. So I thought red, blue, whatever. 4th of July sour, man, here we go. So I'm gonna do this one a kettle sour. This is the first time I've ever done a kettle sour, so we're gonna learn how to do that. And then I'm gonna use berries. I'm gonna use strawberry and raspberry and blueberry. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be ready. I'm blue, hopefully a lavender is more likely gonna be a brown. But anyways, it'll be wonderfully tasty good. So let's get to making the beer. All right, for me, trying to figure out batch volume comes down to how much I want in the finished volume. So I start off with how much I want at the end, and I work back to the front. With this batch, I wanted 7 gallons in the keg, and coming backwards from there, I know I'm going to lose volume at every stage of the brewing process. I'll lose some during the boil, through the evaporation. Some will stay inside the kettle with the tube, and I'll lose a little more when transferring into fermentation. So if I want 7 gallons ready to keg, I need to finish the boil with about 8.5 gallons of wort. Work back means one more step. I know my grain is going to absorb a fair amount of water during the mash. That means I need to start with approximately 10.5 gallons of fresh water. For this brew, I'm also starting with 100% reverse osmosis water. If you watched the channel before, you know I almost always start with reverse osmosis water. Gives me a blank canvas for every recipe. Okay, since I'm gonna kettle sour this, and I want this to be super sour, I didn't want to be in conflict with my water profile, so I went with the really soft water profile. I wanted it to just the sourness and the berries to be the sour. I don't want my water to really conflict with that. So I went with the really soft water profile. To do that, let me look at my notes here. I was trying to get 56 parts per million on calcium, 17 on the magnesium, 0 on the sodium, 53 on the chlorides, and 128 on the sulfates. Now this is going to help my fermentation. It's going to give me the minerals I need in their fermentation, but it's not going to distract from the sour. To build that profile, I added 9 grams of calcium chloride, 6 grams of Epsom salt, and 4 grams of gypsum. So it can give me a nice, crisp, clean water profile that supports the beer I want without overwhelming it. Now that we've got the water figured out, let's talk about the grain bill. Again, I don't want this to be malty. I don't want it to be roasty. I just want a simple grain that's gonna give me the sourness and let them berries show through. Let this be just that berry blast that we're talking about. So to do that, I use 7 pounds, 14 ounces of a 2-row. Just basic, something I can use that gives me my base malt. I used 2 pounds of some flaked oats. I just use the cooking oats you can get at the store. And then I used 12 ounces of a Care Aroma. That was to give me some color and just a little sweetness to help them berries. Now with everything added together, I knew I wasn't going to have quite enough to give me that really strong sour I wanted with the sugars and with the fermentables I had. So I added 2 pounds of sugar at my first boil. Now anybody that knows my channel or is new to my channel, I brew in a bag. To brew in a bag, you got to really get a fine crush on your grains. That gives you your best chance of getting the best conversion on all of your grains. So everything that was able to be ground, which was just my 2-row, I ground up super fine. I went quarter on my mill and just ground it really fast and got me just a real fine. Then I added my oats to my grains, mixed them all together, and I mashed in. Now the strike temp on this was 157 degrees. I wanted to mash in right around 152 because I already got all my water in. When I put the grains, it doesn't drop it so far. So it's just about a 5 or 7 degree drop once I get my water, so that once I drop my grains. I mashed in for 60 minutes, get the best I could, and then I pulled my grains. Did a nice squeeze on the bag, and then I went to a quick 15-minute boil. This is doing nothing but sanitizing my wort. That's all I want to do. Just want to sanitize it here. And then I cool it right back down to about 90 degrees with my chiller. Once I got it down to that temperature, I went and got my GoodBelly. Now, GoodBelly is a probiotic. It's a form of souring agent that you can put in that's relatively inexpensive, and it comes in a capsule form. I took 4 capsules and sprinkled over the top of my wort, left it in my kettle, put some plastic wrap over the top, and then I waited 36 hours. After the 36 hours, I checked my pH. I was at a 3.2. I did a little taste test then, and it can be deceiving, guys, because the wort's still so sweet, you don't perceive that sourness quite as much. So me and Mama P tasted and gave it little samples and went, okay, we want a little more sour. So I gave it another 12 hours. I got down to a 3.1, and I was getting this. It's hard to say, but again, this is hard to say. You want to get the final beer finally before you determine what it's like. But 3.1 was pretty sour from my understanding. Brought it back up to a boil. Added my hops, boiled it for 60 minutes. That killed all the bacteria, and basically the souring had stopped. In this process, I can absolutely control my sour level. This is why I like the kettle sour. Once I got that, then I brought it back down to my fermenting temperature, which was 90, because I'm using Kvite, guys. I don't have a great opportunity right now for fermenting at certain temperatures, because where I'm living, it's getting pretty hot, and I don't have the control of my environment in my brew shed. So I put some Kvite to this one, let it ferment. Before I did that, I wanted to add my berries. I wanted them just in my primary fermentation. So I took 3 pounds of strawberries, 2 pounds of raspberries, and 1 pound of blueberries. And I blended them up with some cran raspberry juice and some cran strawberry juice, and I put that all into my kettle. And I let it ferment at 90 degrees. After 3 days, man, I was there. I think it'd been there for a day or two, but it went fast. This is Kvite, guys. It goes that way. And so I let it go a couple more days. I set a total of about a week in the kettle. And then I put it into my kegs, and then I started to cold condition it. Now, I should know there's going to be some people down in the comments that are going to go, you fermented in your... Yeah, I fermented in my kettle, guys. I have a plastic fermenter, and I did not want to contaminate that and have sour beers from here on out. So I just fermented in my kettle. We're great. I just left the lid kind of loose and let the fermentation go through. It was sour. I'm not doing an IPA or something, so... Then I went with, we're going to sit here for a little bit and let this thing get where it needs to be and have it for our midsummer celebration. And if any of you are here from the United States, you know what I'm talking about. Midsummer celebration. Here, let me show you some stuff. And then we'll come back and we'll do a tasting. All right, we had a fantastic 4th, guys. Probably saw a lot of the video up through here that I've took while we were having our fun. But let's talk about this beer so I can get this video out. Came out a nice kind of a ruby red. Didn't get the lavender. Maybe a little, it's just a ruby red. Nice red color. Aroma. I'm getting some berry. I can't differentiate between what kind of berry it is. It smells like kind of berries. The head, it's a sour, guys. They didn't stick around long. You saw, it had a nice head when you pour it, but it just don't stay around long. That's just part of sours. Normal taste. Okay, the sours there, guys. Wow. Yeah, that one's sour. pH on this one, I was started the fermentation at 3.1, so she was going to be a sour kid when I fermented it anyway, and it's turned out really sour. Not getting a lot of anything sour, maybe just a touch of strawberry. I'm not getting any of the raspberry, the blueberry. It's a good sour beer, guys. Mama P's happy. She's very happy. Some of the people I've let test this and try it said it's a very good sour. It's really sour though. So it's one of the things about doing a kettle sour is you get to set that sour level. When you're using a Philly sour, you're using some of these yeast that create that sour profile. It's what it ends up being. But this, I set, and I can get really low with this. This one's really sour. So if you've ever done a sour and you've used my process, then put something down in the bottom, link it, or in the comments. And guys, thanks for coming. This was a fun project. I'm going to continue to do them. If it's something you like, subscribe. And thanks for coming to Papa's Happy Place.